Are you wearing a Dante's hat?
Yeah, I'm paying homage to the king of Negroni bars. Yo!
Any excuse to make a Negroni during the workday.
Yeah, I apologize that I don't have one while I'm driving.
Hey guys, it's Nathan with Crown and Caliber, and we're back at it with another Crown and Caliber Chats. And today we are joined by Matt Hranek. Matt Hranek is the author of A Man and His Watch. He is the founder and editor of W.M. Brown Magazine, and he can be found at W.M. Brown Project on Instagram. Among other things, he is a traveler, and he is a Negroni drinker, and I am super excited to have him with us today. How are you, man?
Hey, Nathan, I'm good. Like I said, excuse me being in the car. I have a house in the middle of nowhere, and I had to go drive around to get the cell signal, so here I am.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, thank you for taking the time to be with us. I assume because you're in the car, you will not be indulging in a Negroni at this moment, but this one's for you.
You know, I don't even have a cup of coffee. It's embarrassing. I kind of buggered out real quick to try to find the highest point to get the AT&T tower. I'm not unaccustomed to drinking a Negroni on our backcountry roads, but I left it in haste.
I like that. Well, I assume you are in or around Brooklyn, or are you up at W.M. Brown?
No, I'm up at the farm, so I'm in Sullivan County. We've been up here for about, well over 3 weeks now.
Okay.
We kind of hightailed it out of Brooklyn under my ambition, and it was a rough settling in for my teenage daughter, and but everybody understands they've got to kind of pull their own weight and just hunker down and ride this crap out.
Yeah. So the past 3 weeks been kind of business as usual up at the farm, or?
I mean, for me, yeah, because I love it up there.
Yeah.
I love being up here. I'd rather be up here than Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And the whole reason why we built this house was really, it was for isolation. Like, it's a 130-acre farm. We bought it almost 20 years ago. And the whole idea of that was, like, to get the hell out of New York and find a balance in your life, which for me was about being in the middle of the wilderness, was about being close to good fly fishing and good wing shooting. And I'll tell you, I'm having a great time.
Mm-hmm. That's a good perspective, in spite of everything, to be able to say, hey, I'm at this moment, like day by day, I'm having a great day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm realistic and very thoughtful and sensitive to what's going on out there. And I feel bad for the people suffering with it, the people dealing with this, the whole paranoia, all my favorite small businesses that are suffering. It's just a drag. But we're trying to make the best for it up here. I'm distracting with a lot of meals, kind of buzzing through my vintage cookbook collection, and I have an epic bar wine cellar situation there. So we are not wanting of any libation.
That's good to hear. Well, in times of trial, those are what you need.
Yeah.
Changing topics. I know W.M. Brown Magazine just put out an issue. I guess actually it's probably been issue 4 was about a month ago now. Maybe
so, no, that came out in November.
Issue 4 did?
Sorry. I take that back. That came out in January. Oh my God, I'm losing.
It's still been. I was like, it was a couple weeks ago. Now I'm like, no, it's probably been 2 months now.
Yeah, it's still fresh. Still a fresh read.
Yeah. What is on the horizon for issue 5? Are you still able to prepare for that, or?
Yeah, the only thing really getting in the way of things here is like crappy Wi-Fi, and we live in such a world that needs to be connected at high speed.
Mm-hmm.
That part is a drag.
Yeah.
But I'm building I'm building the summer issue right now, which may get delayed a little bit, but you know, we have great contributors who are kind of building out great stories, trying to create a, you know, maybe some surprises so people aren't just kind of anticipating the same thing every time.
Yeah.
So I'm really cracking away at it up here, and I've actually found it quite inspirational to be here without much distraction and kind of really fine tune what we're doing. You know, I'm also going to I'm going to do a newsletter.
Okay.
And yeah, so I think, you know, with all this stuff that's been having on Instagram, you know, a lot of people have had a lot of time to kind of engage in social media, and then I'm kind of flooded with a lot of questions and a lot of dialogue, and I answer every single one, or try to answer every single one.
That's
but
awesome.
I thought, you know, kind of building out some of this more popular kind of questions through this kind of newsletter activation, I think, is a great way to supplement the magazine in between each kind of seasonal launch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good pivot, we'll say, and definitely a businessman at heart. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
You may be graced by my dog. I think there's either a lizard or a bug that he is chasing around our living room. So if you see a dog run through here, jump up here. Don't mind him. He's a sweet soul. Would it be a Crowning Caliber chat if I didn't ask? What's on your wrist?
Okay, I am wearing what I've just realized is a slow running 5513 Rolex Submariner.
Mm.
It's a watch that I bought in the early 90s on eBay at a time when, sort of mid 90s, it was at a time when like the sellers didn't trust the buyers, right?
Yeah.
So I bought this. I just was in love with it. I didn't really even know much about the watch, and I asked my wife permission, and I paid a whopping $1,500 for it at the time. And I know, it's sick. And this watch has gone tropical since I owned it.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it's hard to see in this light, but the dial is totally going chocolate brown, which is killer.
That's awesome, man. That's a killer watch. Do you think that's your go-to watch right now in your collection? Did you bring your watches with you out to the farm?
You know, I quickly grabbed a pile of watches. I don't know. I was kind of like, felt like doomsday prepper, you know. I felt a little like, get the passports, get the watches. You know, it's like ridiculous. But yeah, I did grab a pile. And then I realized that, you know, one of my favorite watches, I would say in my collection now, is the 1016 Explorer that I got from Crown and Caliber. And thanks to you for vetting that for me.
You're welcome.
And that one I had left in the safe.
Oh.
I was like, shit. But I brought a pile and I've been rotating out. It's funny, like I've lost track of time, right? So I look at the watch and I was like, man, this thing has been running 10 minutes slow for the last few days. So I guess it's a testament of how I'm spending my days.
Yeah, which is, I think, a good thing. I looked down at my watch, my date just the other day, and I was like, wait a second, it's not the second. And it was definitely the third. And at some point it had probably died and I just didn't realize it and got off a day. And there's something kind of freeing in that, you know? And I know you're experiencing that up at the farm, where you kind of lose track of time. And I can't imagine a situation where that would happen in what we'll call the normal day-to-day.
No.
I think that's call it collateral damage of what we're kind of experiencing right now. You kind of lose track of time, which is, I think is great.
You know, I forgot, I mean, I've lost track of days. Like I'm just sort of like, what's today? You know? And I mean, I actually look forward to the first drink. So I'm always like, is it kind of European house rules right now? Like, can I have a glass of wine with lunch? You know? But it's funny, my daughter is up there with us. We set up a kind of makeshift schoolhouse for her in this cabin that we have on the property, which is closer to cell service, so she could zoom in her studies. And because she's in that routine now, there's a little bit of a structure of like, okay, she's got to get down to the cabin by 8:15. She comes up for lunch at 11:55. Maybe she's done by 3:20. So like, it's kind of interesting. And I've got like the John Deere Gator as the school bus that I run her down back and forth with. And I've been really enjoying like this idea of, you know, I wake up in the morning, I make a cup of coffee, I let the dogs out, and I start making lunch, basically.
That's so good. It's all, and I dare say that you're on vacation, but for the sake of this, I'm going to say that's all vacation is. It's just going from one meal to the next.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you have for lunch today?
So today so Clara came up. I braised short ribs a couple days ago. So what you realize from cooking every single day is you get a lot of leftovers, and I don't want to waste anything ever, right? And particularly during this time, like I'm not wasting anything. Something gets turned into something else, turned into something else. So I took out the short ribs and we kind of warmed them up with polenta. That was really great. And of course, Clara came up and didn't want to eat leftovers. So we got this great shipment of Sicilian products from Partania Olive Oil. My friend owns Partania Olive Oil in Sicily. And they sent just the most amazing stuff. So Clara dug into that box and made some Sicilian pasta with olive oil and garlic. It was pretty spectacular.
Awesome, man. Well, now that you're up at the farm, you're losing track of time. Is there anything that, since you've been there, you're like, oh, I want to get this accomplished. I've got a goal that in the next, what have you, weeks, months, I'm going to get this taken care of?
Well, I think first of all, I do have stuff I need to do, right? I'm writing a Negroni book for Artisan right now.
Really?
And yeah, so that book will be out in the next spring. The car book, A Man in His Car, will be out in fall 2020. So there's a lot of fine tuning that's been happening with that. And then in this crisis, you know, I've been talking to my publisher. The Martini book, the Negroni book turned into a Martini book after that. So like that's lined up.
Nice.
And through all of this, I think I'm going to probably do a William Brown kind of lifestyle cookbook for them when the dust settles.
Cool.
But, you know, it's been a very inspiring time. Like, I think that I've been using this time for inspiration and motivation because I don't want to, when we all come out of this, I don't want to be the guy with my pants down or not even on.
Yeah. That's the worst.
Yeah.
Been there. Is there anything, that's all like very productive stuff. Is there anything that you're going to do for just you that you're up there?
You know, it's been really cold and windy and miserable up here, but, you know, for me, it's about, I want to stay kind of physically aware and mentally aware as much as I can and not just to stay active physically. Yeah. So I take the time to either run or hike every day. We have lots of trails and stuff around here. And I think that is so good for my head. I don't know. I just felt very responsible to my family to be the person taking care of all these things and kind of navigating everyone being comfortable and well fed and well libated. And, you know, it's interesting the instincts that kind of kick in.
Yeah, that's cool. That's interesting. And that's not something I imagine you can experience without a situation like the one we're in. It takes almost something extraordinary to kind of allow you to kick into that. And I know it probably feels pretty good that is your natural instinct, you know? Now that you're up there, what is your go-to Negroni recipe?
Okay, here it is. And I'm going to give you, this is a little precursor to the book because I do put my recipe in the book. Perfect. I think when it comes to Negronis, everybody should start with the recipe that's on the Campari bottle, which is 1-1-1, right? 1 part London Dry, 1 part sweet vermouth, 1 part Campari. Over ice with a slice of orange, not a rind, a slice. So that to me is the barometer. That's where it all starts. But I think, just like when you're cooking and you have recipes, that the palate is individual, and everybody sort of likes a little something different highlighted in what they eat and drink.
Mm-hmm.
See, I love gin. I love the taste of gin. I love the bite of juniper. I love it. So, and I don't really love super sweet things. So what I like to do is I'm a little bit more gin forward. I use a super rich vermouth, a Punt, made by Carpano. I have vintage bottles of that too, which is like almost like the color of Coca-Cola. It's unbelievable. And that I use less of because it's more intense, more spicy than sweet.
Yep.
And then I fill the rest up with Campari and kick in a slice of orange.
All right, I'm gonna have to try that. I had recently actually looked at the back of the bottle of Campari, which is funny. I pick that thing up all the time and never take time to look at the back. And I noticed, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think the vermouth they asked for is Cinzano, sweet vermouth. And I'm guessing that's probably owned by Campari. And I have never had that.
I have Cinzano vermouth. I have, and it's actually quite good.
Okay.
My go-tos are Carpano. I think Punt and Antica are pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I think that Cocchi is great, but and my wife loves Cocchi, but it gives you a much more vanilla kind of profile. And I think that's what's really interesting in the dialogue about Negroni. The gin is less of a conversation than the vermouth.
Mm-hmm.
Because the gin should just be London Dry.
Yeah.
Full stop. It should not be a flavored gin. It should not be a cucumber forward gin. It should just be London Dry gin. But the vermouth is what changes the game, and the quantity of the vermouth. And I'm not even going to get obsessive about ice.
Mm-hmm.
I think the real factor that makes and breaks the Negroni is the vermouth.
I like that. I call this heresy. Currently, I am using a Spanish vermouth called Atxa, which I had for the first time probably about a year ago in a Negroni. And my go-tos were usually Cocchi di Torino or Punt. And I grabbed a bottle of this Atxa and did a couple side-by-sides. And it's different, but I absolutely love it. So,
you know, I think the Spanish do great vermouths. I think the French do great vermouths. I prefer the French dry vermouths. For martinis. I will use French vermouth, not Italian. But I think for me, I gotta put an Italian vermouth in an Italian drink.
Yeah, it's fair enough. It's the way to do it. Well, awesome, man. Well, hey, Matt, thank you so much for taking some time and chatting with us today. Hope you guys are doing well up at the farm, and look forward to seeing you on the other side of this, man.
Yeah, thank you. You know how much I love Crown and Caliber, and you guys have been so generous and helpful and great. It's just terrific to take the time to talk with you.
All right, thank you so much, man. Take it easy.
Okay.
All right.
See you,
bye.
Nate.